Genug ist Dafa. What is it? What is it? Even before you start. 1 terabyte.
Check 1 2 1 2.
This year's presentation is very colorful. Clearly, Joanna must have done something. Joanna, were you part of this one? Huh? Do I need it while we have this?
Would you rather use that?
Yeah, since I'm here, why not? Yeah. Yeah.
2. Check 1, 2. Mic check.
Very good morning to all of you. If I can ask the guys at the back to just settle in, please come take your seats. We still have VIP seats open here in the front. The further you sit, the more you pay. So I can see we have some big guns. The regulator is sitting in front as well, so we expect very, very good things between MTC and the regulator in this new financial year. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you all to our not financial results presentation, but our performance presentation. Because I think many, many years ago, we adopted a philosophy of not just talking about our finances, because finances is not just all about business, but we speak about and present about our performance as a whole. And that's why we've taken an integrated approach to our performance. Just before we start, if you want to visit the restrooms, you go out of here, you go straight down. If you find yourself in a live day spa, then you know that you're lost. Because just before that, you take a right, and then you'll find the restrooms. We have not been informed of any drills, so when the siren does go off, can we just please evacuate, and our friendly ambassadors there will show us where the assembly area is. So you are safe in here. We have a very short program. I'm going to, if I can just quickly run you through it, we have Dr. Erastus who will do the presentation on our performance. Very short and concise presentation. And after that, I will invite him and Tinas, who's our financial director. I'm sure you have a lot of questions after the presentation, or you might have come with questions. We will appreciate if you keep them related to MTC business. The two of them will then try their best to answer all your questions, and after that, we will gladly send all of you on a well-deserved holiday. Without wasting any time, Doctor, but before you come up, you would have read in the media that his fixed-term contract was recently renewed. I was told that these things don't get renewed very often. So congratulations, and we wish you all the best in taking MTC to greater heights in the next 5 years. Doctor, thank you very much.
Good morning. I don't know why Tem is calling this a presentation, because a few years back, during our roadshows for listing, we made promises. And I always see this time of the year as time for a conversation in terms of just telling you how we are keeping up with the promises that we have made to you a few years back. And normally when people ask me when my leave starts, I always say to them, wait for the day that I go and present in December. That's a sign that my leave is starting for the year. It's good to have you all here. Trying to navigate. Dr. Nehemia, can you fix this? Yes. It might sound like a repetition, but as I mentioned, this is the promise that we had made in our prospectus a few years back. And every year, this time of the year, we always come here to account for this, and also just to show how we have done for the year. Now, for every existence, there should be a purpose. And this slide basically speaks around the purpose of MTC, why we exist. The first one is about empowering connectivity. And we empower every Namibian by providing seamless connectivity, because we believe that no one should be left behind. We continue to introduce cutting-edge technologies like what we have launched a few months ago, the MTC Maris. And we are doing so because we need to innovate to meet the evolving needs of our diversified subscribers. We continue to be the pioneers in digital transformation, and this is because we need to continuously enhance the way how we do business and in terms of the products and services that we provide to our subscribers. We also champion inclusive growth, and we do this by bridging the digital divide, and we do that also because we want to enable opportunities for all Namibians to participate in the Namibian economy. Our expansive network and services drive significant economic impact to foster job creation and also to support local businesses across Namibia. In terms of our ESG, we are committed to our ESG principles because we prioritize sustainability and responsible innovation for a better Namibia. The MTC overview. We are MTC. We are Namibia's first and largest communication service provider and a leading brand. And over the last 30 years, we have adapted our business to evolving technologies and trends to keep Namibians connected to the economy, their work, families, as well as friends. We constantly move ahead and we continuously transform our business into a digital service provider. So in short, we connect Namibia and Namibians. And this is just to demonstrate also the shareholding as it is. 60.1% is owned by NPTH and 39.9% is listed on the Namibian Stock Exchange. In terms of the different stakeholders, in terms of customers, we refer to those that we are providing services to. Employees refer to our ambassadors, those are the MTC ambassadors, to which we owe our existence. Shareholders, NPTH and other retail and international shareholders. The regulator and local authorities are also our stakeholders. And then we also have strategic partners. I will show some of them on the slide. And then MTC has two subsidiaries, Jagan 34, which is our property company, and then WGA Trading, which is our MTC Maris, which is our fintech subsidiaries. And that's a subsidiary that recently has launched our mobile financial services. In terms of the MTC strategic initiatives, these are the 5 pillars that is driving our strategy. First one is operational efficiency. Through operational efficiency, we continuously invest in CAPEX. That is technologies, as well as infrastructure and networks that allow us to continuously improve on service delivery to our customers. We also continuously invest in customer experience because it matters how our customers and the experience that our customers are getting through our service provisioning. As we speak now, in the next week or two, we will be launching or we will be replacing our OCS, and that is also really in effort of just improving our customer experience. We have done a lot of significant investments into data analytics and other customer experience management technologies because we want to be proactive in knowing what are the services and the quality that we are providing to our customers. We also want to remain market leaders, and for us to do that, we need to continuously invest in R&D. We need to innovate on a daily basis. So we need to keep up with emerging trends and emerging technologies. Everybody is talking about the whole hype on the oil and gas that is happening. We are having conversations with them. I'm happy to see that our chief commercial is also sitting here and smiling. In terms of revenue growth, the pillars, for our revenue to growth, we need to really have a proper operational efficiency strategy in place, and that is through the investment of technologies. We need to continuously improve on our customer experience, And we need to continuously innovate, and we need to continuously demonstrate sustainability. All those factors contribute to a positive revenue growth. So these are the 5 pillars that guides our strategy, and these are the 5 pillars that we use to measure ourselves and the performance of MTC. Earlier I spoke about becoming a full digital service provider. I have listed a few areas where we are focusing in order for us to achieve digital transformation. And these are the pillars that will drive, or some of the pillars that will really drive our digital transformation as MTC. The growth of digital services. There we are looking at what are the solutions that we are providing to the market. How do we align to emerging markets, and how far do we go to understand and proactively provide services that speaks to the current needs. There we are talking about development of platforms. There we are talking about how do we bring Namibians that are in underserved markets or underserved areas to become part of the ecosystem. I will mention a few solutions that we have developed. Of course, MTC Maris being one of them, but there is also other few. For example, we have partnered with the World Food Program to develop a voucher solution where, unlike in the past, they are able to distribute vouchers and not food parcels. So these vouchers can then be redeemed at different shops for food parcels. That's just one of them. And I think there is also another solution that we have developed for the drought, the ongoing drought. How do we bridge the digital divide? There we have solutions like e-vouchers, where we are enabling our men and women on the street to be able to sell vouchers from their cell phones. And also, how do we continue to push for economic resilience? That speaks to our packages that we always continue to optimize. And you will note that in the market we are continuously launching new packages, and that is really to continue pushing for affordability for our subscribers. Strategic partnerships, we have over 30 strategic partnerships, MOUs that we have in place, and this is really to optimize the different resources that we have in terms of collaborating with like-minded partners and be able to provide solutions to Namibians. Innovation and adaptability, this is continuous. When we were doing the listing roadshow, one of the questions that kept popping up was, now with your partner PT Telecom out of the picture, will you continue to remain relevant? And we said we will achieve that through smart strategic partnerships, but also to prioritize our innovation and development. So we have invested in what we call the HTTPS, which is the Innovation Hub, a partnership between MTC and the Namibia University of Science and Technology, and that's where we are doing most of our innovation. This slide basically shows the over 30 partnerships that we have signed. You will note there that we have MOUs with all of them, and there are solutions that we have developed with these partners. And this really speaks to our philosophy of going into smart strategic partnerships with like-minded partners. You will see that the past few weeks we have been launching some products with Old Mutual. There was the loyalty program, and also recently last week they have announced the change in numbers of their offices. So those are all speaking to the different partnerships that we have. With the World Food Program, that is the food puzzle solution that I spoke about earlier. For example, with NIP, we are testing drones, the drone technology of transporting blood from rural clinics. And we have provided a fully fledged digital solution to the likes of NORAD, and so it goes. So this is just to demonstrate and show the few partnerships that we have in place. This is just a high-level slide to show the MTC Maris that we have launched, the mobile financial service, and what it is that we can do with that. It's very exciting. This is the first phase, and as we go, we will continue to add more functionalities. I'm willing to take more questions after my presentation on this specific one, because I know it will be a topic of interest for most of you in the room. But I should state and assure you that it has brought a lot of excitement into the market. And this really speaks again to our diversification strategy as MTC. Now I go to why we are here today. This is the MTC performance for 2024. And you will note that the revenue growth is 5.9% year on year. You will note that we are standing at 3.2 billion, and 120 million of that comes from new revenues. But I should state that it was not an easy year. This is the year when, or last year was the year when we were doing the SIM registration, and I think my presentation last year, December, one of the things that I highlighted was that we expect to have a negative impact because of the SIM registration. One, because we expected to lose a lot of numbers from there. Two, because the cost to do SIM registration was a cost that was not planned for, and it was significant cost. We needed to deploy ambassadors. We needed to employ ambassadors on temporary basis for us to be able to meet the deadline that we were given by the regulator. However, even with that, we have managed to achieve the revenue growth of 5.9%. Also adding to that is, you will note that in our previous financials, we always had two lines. One, the ongoing case that we had with the regulator on the annual levies. Two, the non-power case. But I'm pleased to inform you that the ongoing case with the regulator have been resolved, and we have managed to pay 58 million. So even with such an outflow, I should say that we have really achieved a good growth as a company. The next one is the smartphone penetration. One of the key priorities that we were pushing during the roadshow, and also as part of growth for MTC, was what we call 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G, basically dual data migration. And we were saying that we will continue to invest in upgrading our network from 2G to 3G, 3G to 4G, and also aggressively push out smart devices. So it shows that the growth of the data traffic between 2023 and 2024, we are now standing at 25.9% in terms of data growth, and 28.9% of that is attributed by 4G. So it shows that our continuous investment in rural LTE and also upgrade of our network is yielding results. In terms of customer satisfaction, we have an annual survey where we do customer value management. This is done by an outside company, a consultant, independent. And the baseline for that, I think, is 74%, but we have an upward move of 2%. This is basically the customer satisfaction. This is where surveys are done in terms of our network quality, in terms of our products, as well as the services that the customers get from MTC. In terms of subscribers, we are seeing a growth of 2.5%, noting that in 2023 we were standing at 1.9 million subscribers for prepaid. Now we are standing at 2034. And I should state that albeit the SIM registration, we actually expected these numbers to drop, but we have actually seen an increase in that, and the postpaid from 167 to 176. This is also attributed to the continuous improvement on our products, and initiatives that we are pushing out to the market. The share price between last year and now has increased with 5.7%, and hopefully after today, we expect the share price also to increase. In terms of the data traffic, we see continuous growth in terms of our data traffic, and this is again attributed to the attractive products that we keep pushing out to the market. The ARPU, the blended ARPU has increased from $92 last year. Now we are standing at $98 this year. And most of that has been attributed by the increase in ARPU of the prepaid from $73 last year to $83 this year. The EBITDA, the company EBITDA, compared to last year, we are standing at 1504. However, you will see the orange dot showing that, of course, if we had included the settlement that we have reached with the regulator, the EBITDA would have been at 1562. So if you subtract the 58 million, then the EBITDA stands at 1504. To remain relevant, we need to continuously invest. And that's why you see that in terms of capital expenditure, we're standing at 715 for this year. And that was because of the ongoing engagement with Nempower. I think we have seen a need to also invest a lot on our own infrastructure and transmission. So last year we have invested close to over 200 million to be able to have our own transmission, because that also allows you at least to comfortably go into SLAs with your customers, because you can guarantee an uptake in terms of the services that you are providing. And that's why we are standing at 715. But this is really, as I said earlier, part of our diversification is to grow our enterprise market. And for us to do that, we need to continuously invest in our technology infrastructure as well as networks. In terms of the dividends, by end of September, we had paid out close to 545 million. But now the board last week has approved. So for the year, the dividend payout will be 81%. You will note that the minimum dividend payout is 70% as per policy, dividend policy. But for this year, we will be paying out 81%. I think this should be good news for the investors. In terms of our CSI, that is just to demonstrate really the allocation that we had for 2024 and the different pillars that we focused, with education being the largest. And I just want to touch and amplify more on education. One of our key projects there is the national internship, which 2 years ago we took a deliberate decision and said we need to rather rename it to the Namibia National Internship, because we have a huge backlog in terms of interns, people that need internship for them to finish their studies. MTC committed a 2 million per year for that, but the 2 million can only cater and accommodate for 160 interns for a year, but we have a backlog of anything between 35 to 40,000 students that need internship. So we had said, let's engage corporates and let's see, now that it is a national, Namibia National Internship Program, let's engage corporates. For those that are willing, minimum, can they contribute 200,000, so that we then see what is the impact then we can do collectively. On top of that, we are also part of Friends of Education, where we have committed to build classrooms to less privileged regions. In fact, we are targeting all regions, but we select a school, as part of the CSI report. Maybe we might release a video, but we select schools that are really in remote areas where people are under tents, under trees, And the testimony to that, all over where we went, it's really positive impact. It's a sad story, but really positive impact. And we will continue to invest in that. Noting that we have a lot of corporates here, I will also encourage that perhaps we should consider to all participate in the Namibian National Internship, because we are doing it for the betterment of the Namibian child. I promised that the presentation will be short and precise. I'm opening up the floor for questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Short and precise indeed. I know that all our ambassadors are following this presentation online. Before we got listed, we could simply, at our staff meetings, say this is how we have performed. Now with listing rules, everybody needs to know at the very, very same time. So I know that they were very, very eager. I would also like to welcome all our customers and shareholders watching this presentation online. If you have questions, we will now engage Dr. and Tinus if there are any questions. Please just raise your hand. The ambassadors will come to you. Briefly introduce yourself, just your name and the institution that you represent, and then you can pose your question. If you have positive comments, you can also do so. Not just questions. We will now open the floor. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Emmanuel from 91. Congrats on the numbers. I'm sure it was a tough year for everybody, especially at MTC. So my question is regarding the fiber capex of 200 million in the last financial year. And this is in order to become less dependent on Nampower's backhaul, right? So what's the expected capex going forward, and is the plan then to be less, to be totally off of the Nampower transmission?
Thank you, Emmanuel. The investment, the 200 million investment, I think was just fast-tracked by the Nampower conversation, but it's actually a plan that we ideally had. So at some point we needed to have such an investment. And this is because part of our diversification strategy is to provide what we call IP peering to our neighbors. We have a few contracts that we have signed up. You will also note that we have a lot of multinationals in the country. So the biggest driver was to make sure that we have our own transmission to the entry and exit of the country, so that it's easy to connect what we call IP peering partners, or basically to have the capacity to sell what we call international wholesale internet. So as we speak, we have signed with a few in South Africa. We are talking to some in Zambia. So the biggest driver is really to be able to provide IP peering to our neighboring countries. In terms of what is the expected capex moving forward, I don't have the exact number now, but I should say that we have managed to cover most of the routes. To the coast, to the south, to Zambia. Definitely.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? Emmanuel, as I'm sure you sufficiently answered. Right.
Thank you. Julia from 91. I have a few questions, but I'll just ask the first three, and then if there's time afterwards, I'll follow up. Again, congratulations. It was a tough year. The first question is on top line. So it is encouraging to see top line growing above inflation, despite the challenges that you indicated with the SIM registrations. Now for next year, competition just seems to be increasing. On the fiber side, we've seen quite a lot of entrants coming in, a lot of offers to subscribers, and then we are also hearing of a new mobile entrant coming into the market. What is MTC doing currently to defend the current position and also at the same time to keep growing on top line? So that's the first question. The second question is on earnings. So despite good growth on revenue, there's even greater growth on OPEX. And we understand that a bulk of it has to do with a few one-offs. As indicated, the CRAN levies, the costs with SIM registrations. But the worry is that every year there'll be something, right? And then you end up in a situation where your costs continue to grow ahead of revenue, and as a result, your earnings continue to go down. On the operational efficiencies, you indicated plans on the CAPEX side. What plans do you have on the OPEX side to ensure that OPEX remains well maintained to ensure bottom line growth? And the third question is on MTC Maris. You indicated a lot of excitement. Have you seen a lot of activity? And are you able to give us in terms of transactions or flows that you've seen to date? Thank you.
Thank you very much for those questions. First one being top line, above inflation. What are we doing to defend our position? New mobile entrant, competition. Shall we take that one first?
Yeah, I will take the first one. That speaks to, earlier I mentioned about our diversification strategy. I also loosely mentioned about the IP peering that we are doing. And somewhere in the presentation, I also mentioned about deliberate conversations that are happening with certain industries. I only gave an example of oil and gas. What is priority for us, and of course noting the competitors that is breathing down our neck, is diversification and to what extent we can do that. So what we have prioritized for this year is we have identified 4 pillars that we are focusing on. One is mergers and acquisition. So we are looking into coming up with a strategy or an investment case around mergers and acquisition. And that speaks to the different products and solutions that we want to push and what is the effort that is required to do that. So that will then basically inform us whether do we start from scratch or is it rather safe to do mergers and acquisition. The second one is enterprise, which speaks to our cloud, the local cloud. We know that there is conversations about data sovereignty and the ongoing data protection bill. So, and it also speaks towards our fiber rollout. I think I should state that we have really achieved a lot in terms of our fiber rollout. That's the second one, and we'll just become more aggressive on our enterprise. The third is we're also looking at a data center, because for all these industries that are coming in, as well as, I mean, for all these industries that are coming in, what we cannot move away from is the preference that they have. So as much as we have a local cloud, we are finding ourselves in a situation where we need to provide a hybrid cloud solution where you can bring your Googles, the Microsoft, etc. So that's also on top of our priority. And the fourth one is what we call international wholesale business. And that is really the IP peering that I mentioned earlier. How do we get our neighbors? Currently we have POPs in South Africa, but how do we create a capacity to have POPs in Namibia, for example, for ISPs that are in Botswana that is landlocked, and other ISPs that probably want alternative routes. Those are the areas that we are looking at in terms of diversification. The other 2 questions I'll give it to Tinus because it speaks towards cost containment.
Thank you, Julia, for the question. We realize in MTC that, as Dr. said, that we need to give attention to revenue, but at the end of the day, effective cost management is the other side to ensure that we have a proper shareholder growth and dividend. So there's a big drive within MTC for automation, where we're looking at not the word effective processes, but automate processes to ensure that we can save on that one and not only add cost due to the growth of the business, but to automate it. And that is not in a single department, it's across all departments. It's starting from the technical, the financial, the legal, as well as the HR units. And with the assistance of the smart partnerships that we have, is we're already in the process. I think if you had a look in the, as a proof to that, in the newspapers, there was quite a couple of tenders that recently run in the last 2 to 3 weeks, where these tenders out for the automation process. So we're really, really looking into the cost itself. As you said, you're 100% right. One of the areas that we highlighted in the March NENS was the cost for the SIM registration itself. And we can report at the end of the day with the numbers that cost, although it was a high cost, but it's worth to spend it to keep the customer. And at the end of the day, we can see that. So this is the important part for us. On the Morris side, we really budget for that, and the current year we budget, and that's the reason that we indicated the difference between MTC and the group on the EBITDA margins for the startup operation. I think we will be very naive to say when you start up an operation it will be this big money spinner, but if you do the competitors on the northern and the western side, northern eastern side of us, we can see this is the future spinner. So we will bear that cost. Because for us, this is the, as we promised on the listing side, it was on the EBU side and the Morris. And we were so glad when we launched on the 4th of October the FinTech, and that we can start seeing momentum on FinTech now.
Right, we have a question online while we're waiting for the gentleman at the back from Amukende Willem. He wants to know, how is the growth of MTC shares amounts? You can just talk to that.
As we reported, is that there was a 5.7% growth year on year. This is September 23 to September 24. Yes, we must be honest with each other that the share price is still below the listing price. But important to highlight, what is the difference between the value of a share and the share price? The share price is the price of the transaction that happened just before the reporting date. So if there was a transaction yesterday, that's the price that the share price on NSX being reflected. It's not the value. So at the end of the day, you do a valuation to see what is the value of the company, what is the EBITDA margins, what is your turnover returns, and your multiples. And important to, and it's not to sugarcoat. I think we must be, and we tried that education process during the listing time. There's two, when you invest in equity, and there's much more experts in the audience, there's a long term and there's a short term. The short term is the dividend declaration. As Dr. said, is that dividend declared is 81%. And if you take that and you compare that to other money markets, what is the return on that one? And the other one is the long. And at the end of the day, it's a pity that our stock exchange is not that liquid, that we can see trading on value, but trading on versus trading on need. So in summary, yeah, it grows. We looking at the return to shareholder, and that's the reason when there was a discussion on the board level, is we're looking at the return on equity, and that's the reason for the dividend declaration as presented by Doctor.
Thank you very much. I'm sure Mr. Amukende is pleased with your answer. Can we have another?
Thank you. Christoph Barnschmidt from Old Mutual. Thank you very much for the presentation, highlighting the facts. Just a comment, thank you for good partnerships. I think that's definitely the way to go in the future. And good luck for your FinTech. I like that space. Let's see where that goes. I believe that's the future as well. And then on the dividend declaration, I like the short end money always now. That's very good. Thank you very much. And yes, thank you. Congrats. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have another question
there. Emmanuel again. 3 quick questions. The MPTH, I read something about them being dissolved by end of this month. What's your comment on that? What happens to the 60% ownership there? The second question, as a mature business, you need to like as you mentioned, you need to focus on R&D. So going forward, what percentage of revenue are you setting aside for R&D? And the third one, it's a hint to the regulator. What's happening with the number portability issue? Is it still going on? When can we expect, for us to be able to move around? Thanks.
So 3 questions there. MPTH, we've heard them being dissolved every year. So now finally happening, Doctor. And I suppose the more important question there is what happens to the shares that because they were representing government. What is the revenue in terms of R&D and then number portability?
The first one I'll try to answer. It was gazetted, I think 2 months ago, 3 months ago, or in August, it was gazetted, the dismantlement, and we are informed that it will be finalized by end of this month, end of December. So logically, I think the shares will then just go back to government. It's just a matter of, is it Minister of Finance or Minister of ICT? We yet have to be informed on that. But there's a planned engagement for that, and I think it will be communicated accordingly to all shareholders. The second one was on...
What are we planning in terms of percentage of revenue in R&D investment?
Yeah, in terms of percentage, it's just that I don't have the numbers now, but it is a priority for us. Even the investment cases that we are building now, around the 4 pillars, the underlying for that will be also R&D. We have seen other matured entities like Huawei, I think they push up to 30%. But the reason why for us we cannot go to such numbers is because we need to be practical. And that's why we are relying more on our smart strategic partnerships and seeing through the collaboration, how can we leverage on the different resources that each party can bring to the table. But ideally, our wish is in the near future to at least reach a certain percentage. Because in our market, even a 1% or 2% is a significant number. But we need to reach such numbers through informed. We need to really go through an informed path for us to reach that. But it is our priority.
Number portability? I'm not encouraging you to speak on behalf of MPTH and the regulator, but since it's your platform, what are your comments on number portability?
It's still ongoing. I mean, the regulation is there. I think we're just going around how to practically implement. Because you will note that we have 08 numbers and we also have 06 numbers. So there is implications technically. That's what we are going around.
Thank you. Do we have more questions? Yeah, looks like it's yes.
Good morning, Matthias from NMH. I walked in a bit late, so hopefully the question wasn't asked already.
We will forgive you.
Yeah, thanks. The issue of Starlink, and it sort of ties in with the question on R&D. What is the way forward? We see Crane having issued their position on the Starlink issue. As a potential competitor, what are you guys doing to sort of preparing yourself to brace yourself for that space? Is there any threat? Is there any thoughts of any partnership being built in that regard? What is the way forward in this?
I know that we don't normally give any potential competitor free airtime on our platforms, especially at an event like this one. But if in the unlikely event that we would like to to comment on Starlink, Doctor, please do so.
I take this, Octavius, you want to take this? Yeah? Take it.
Octavius is our Chief Commercial Officer. And he's still on duty, so. Octavius, you can come to the front. Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So, as Tim has said, we don't normally want to comment about competition. But just to reassure our investors and all our key stakeholders, we find ourselves in a unique position where over the years we have done a lot of investment that mitigate any risk that may come. Right, so that is in terms of capacity and our ability to roll out products that are similar to current and future competition. So we do have fiber, which is physical fiber. We have what we call air fiber, which is your microwave. We also have 4G LTE, and we also have satellite. Those 4 technologies among them, with the way that we have planned and the investments that we've done and product innovation, will be able to mitigate and ensure continued growth. I'm sure if you go deep into our report, you will see that for fixed internet connectivity, we have been growing at over 25% per annum. That will continue with what we have planned. Thank you.
I actually thought your question was going to be why they have operated illegally, but that's for another day. Any more questions? Yes?
Thank you. Sain from IJG. So I'm going to ask Emmanuel's favorite question. Any debt soon?
Any debt, did you say?
Yes, any debt. Can we see a bond maybe in the next 2 years?
Yeah, I think you referred to the word that was used in the past of the lazy balance sheet. And quite recently, some of the investors indicated proper management of itself. As Dr. said, we're in the process of looking at mergers and acquisitions to grow the business itself. At this point in time, it will tell us what is needed and when it's needed and what is the return thereof. But the process is actively driven by the strategic office, which is directly reported.
I wish anybody can ask me that question in my personal capacity. When are you getting into debt? It's probably a good problem to have. Do we have any more questions? Online? Nothing? Thank you very much. That brings us, do we have any last parting words, Dr. and Tinus?
Yeah, we made a promise to the shareholders a few years back, and this is just to really assure the shareholders that we will continue to, not the shareholders, but the stakeholders, because we need to be inclusive. And this is just to assure the stakeholders that we will continue to deliver on our promises, and we will continue to push MTC to the next level. Thank you.
Yes.
I think one of the areas that we highlight is that we don't take the numbers for granted, because at the end of the day, it was not an easy year, and there is no guarantee that the next one will be easy. So at the end of the day, it's really to be customer-centric, to offer affordable products, and at the end of the day, as our prepaid products, we can see that people move to the subscription-based products, which is under their way. So at the end of the day, the push is let we grow revenue, let we grow bottom line, but at the end of the day, as a result of proper offerings and growth of the base. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and to all our customers, shareholders, would-be potential customers, thank you very, very much for your support. Everything that we do at MTC goes back directly to you, whether directly or indirectly, and we would like to wish you all a joyous festive season. Please make as many calls as you can during the festive season. The network is going to be top-notch. Consume that data and stay connected. Thank you very, very much. I would now like to invite Werner, who's one of our directors, to the front for a pitch opportunity, and would like to then invite you for breakfast. We still have money for breakfast, right? At the back before you leave. Thank you very, very much, and enjoy your holidays.